With Doubtnut, get instant video solutions to all your maths, physics, chemistry, and biology doubts. Just click the image of the question, crop the question, and get instant video solution. Download Doubtnut app today.
Hello everyone, let us start with our question. In this question, it is given that there is a true balance is one in which pans are of equal masses and the arms are of equal length. Now, when this happens, the net moment of the force about the point of suspension is zero. So let's say in this case, this is the point of suspension. So the net moment would be zero. And the beam remains horizontal without any weight. That is for the true balance. P1 would be equals to P2, L1 would be equals to L2, and also P1, L1, this would be equals to P2, L2. That means the net moment would be zero. Now there is a shopkeeper which use a false balance to weighing articles. Now both arm and the pans of this false balance are different, but the beam become horizontal. Now the this arms and the we can say that this P1 and P2 basically these are different, and L1 and L2 is also different, but the this beam is horizontal, but the beam becomes horizontal without any weight. Beam is why it would be becoming horizontal, because the moment would be balanced. P1 L1 would be equals to P2 L2. The net moment from here and the net moment from here, they would be basically equal. So this would be a balance. Now, if the mass of P2 is less than, it is given that if mass of P2 is less than the mass of P1 and the shopkeeper puts a weight W on this P1 and the article on P2. In this, weight gain of the shopkeeper is W. So these two are basically same statement, but here it is given as to be weight gain and here it is given as to be weight loss. Now, in this situation, first of all, we just write, since the beam is already balanced, so we can say that P1 L2 would be equals to P1 L1 would be equals to P2 L2. Okay. Now, another thing which is given is that this P2 is less than our P1. Okay. It is given that P2 is less than P1. Now, if we just write the value of L1 divided by L2 in this situation, what would be the value of L1 divided by L2? It would be P2 divided by P1. Now, here it is given that P2 is less than P1. So this ratio would be less than 1. So we can simply say that L1 divided by L2, this ratio would be less than 1. Okay, we can just say like this. That means this length would be less as compared to this length. Now, what is also given, for example, if we put a mass of if we put a weight W on P1, let's say we put a W weight here, and let's say here the weight is W2. Okay. Now, since the beam is horizontal, so their moment would also be equal. So we can say that W into L1 would be equals to W2 into L2. So we can say that W into L1, this would be equals to W2 into L2. Or we can say that the mass of the article W2, this would be equals to W L1 divided by L2. Now, what is the value of L1 divided by L2? Now, L1 divided by L2 is less than 1. This ratio is less than 1. So that means W2 would be what? W2 would be less than W. Okay, W2 would be less than W. That means the weight of article would be less than the weight which is kept on the pan itself. Okay, so this would be a gain for the shopkeeper. So this is the gain for shopkeeper. What is the gain? Delta W. This would be equals to W minus W2. Okay, so this would be, if you put the value of W, it is W, and the value of W2 would be equals to W L1 divided by L2. So we can take W to be common, then it would be L2 minus L1 divided by L2. So this is gain for the shopkeeper. Now in the first part, it is given that gain for the shopkeeper is this L2 minus L1 divided by L2 times W. So we have already got this statement. So this is right. And this would be wrong because here it is given that it is loss. Now it is given that if the mass of P2 is less than P1. Okay. So the same situation which was given. So L1 would be less than L2. But the shopkeeper puts a weight on P2. Now the shopkeeper is putting a weight W onto P2, and weight on 1, we call this as to be W1. Now again, the moment, because the beam is horizontal, so the moment would be balanced. So we can say that W into L2 would be equals to W1 into L1. So we can say that for the second case, we can say that W into L2, this would be equals to W1 into L1. So from this expression, we can say that value of W would be equals to W1 would be equals to W L2 divided by L1. Now we can simply see that L1 divided by L2 is less than 1. So L2, the reverse ratio would be greater than 1. So we can say that this value would be greater than, this ratio is greater than 1. Simply it means that W1 would be greater than W. That means this is a loss for the shopkeeper. So this is the loss. Okay, this is the loss. So what is the loss? W1 minus W would be the loss. So what is the value of W1? It is W L2 divided by L1 minus W. So if we take W to be common, then it would turns out to be L2 minus L1 divided by L1. Now this would be a loss. So we can say that which option would be the correct option? C is correct. Now in the D, it is given as to be gain. So this is wrong. So the correct option are A and C. Hope you understood the solution. Thank you.
For class 6 to 12, IIT JEE and NEET level. Trusted by more than 5 crore students. Download Doubtnut app today.